We bought a condo in the Dominican Republic, so we're going to talk about it today. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And the whole process was a little different than what we're used to in the United States. So that's pretty much why we want to do this video.
We had so many people respond to our newsletters, like with a bunch of questions. So we figured let's just do a quick video with all of the processes and the rundown so that you can figure out if this is something you might want to do too. And it doesn't have to be DR, right? It could be anywhere in the world.
Right. Every place is going to be a little different than the United States, so take that in consideration. So first off, why aren't we at our condo now? Well, it's because it's not finished and it's a year behind. So we go there after we leave here. Our condo is pretty much 95% done, but every place else, the pool isn't done. The
common areas
isn't done. There's a lot of construction still going on for a project that was supposed to be done a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start with contracts first. Well, actually, before we start with contracts, why did we decide the Dominican Republic? The reason being is because my dad's side of the family is from the Dominican Republic. And so it's always been like a dream of mine to have property here. My dad always wanted to have property here. Unfortunately, he passed before he could do so. And so for me, this was more so just like continuing the family legacy. And I had been fortunate enough that my husband has fallen in love with the culture. All he needs is a Presidente and a good old Dominican shape up, and he's happy.
Right.
So we decided
for 250 pesos, including the tip.
So we decided let's go ahead and get some roots here. So that's why we chose the DR for personal reasons. Now, how did the process happen? Darius and I come here probably every year, I would say, to vacation. And we also realized that every time that we come here to vacation, we would stay longer and longer and longer, kind of testing that theory, like, can we actually live here? The creature comforts that we're used to in the United States, do we miss those? Or, how that whole process went. So I'm curious to know, like, what your thoughts were as we stayed longer and longer in the DR.
One thing that I noticed is the culture. The longer you stay, the more you get kind of rooted in the culture. And I really appreciated it coming from the DC area where we're from, where there's a sense of community. No matter where you go, there's people looking to help, people looking to add value. And I really appreciate that even in the different providence that we visited in Dominican Republic, it was always the same. There was a sense of family, a sense of people always willing to help you.
Exactly. So once we got accustomed to the culture and decided like this is actually what we wanted to do, we said, okay, so we settled on the Samana Peninsula. So the city that our condo is in is called Las Terrenas. It's in the north end. We'll put a map here so you can see where it is. We got married in Punta Cana. We've lived in Santo Domingo. We've investigated Santiago and Puerto Plata. But for whatever reason, Las Terrenas just kind of spoke to us. It was different. It's not as touristy as I'm going to say like Punta Cana.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. And it's just different. So like you have to get here and experience it. It's very rough around the edges. However, at the same time, it has so much charm and so much potential. So that's really what we bought into.
Now let's talk about contracts. Contracts are in Spanish, and Carmen's fluent in Spanish and can read Spanish, but we still wanted to make sure we had an attorney to look over things for us. So our attorney looked over our contract and translated it into English so that I can also read it also. So that was a huge benefit. There were some things that he saw in the contract that he brought to our attention, which we then took to our builder.
Yeah, and how did we find the lawyer? So the real estate agent that we were working with, I had been stalking his newsletter. So when we came to Las Terrenas, I was like, oh my gosh, if we want to have property here, let me find out who the realtors are. And I just started stalking their newsletters. So he had this pre-construction deal that was on his newsletter, and I talked to Darius about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this price. Do we want to get into it? The thing was knowing that it was going to be at least a 3.5-year project because they're building from the ground up. And so he led us to the lawyer who helped us facilitate all the contracts.
Now, granted, there's a lot that happens in 3.5 years. But one thing that we really appreciated about it is we were able to get in at the bottom price or the root pricing compared to what it's going to be once everything is built and the prices are going to go up.
Yes, yeah, we did pay retail pricing. I know many of you know that, we're real estate investors. So for this particular project, it was retail pricing, but it is what it is. So moving on to contracts. Once we understood that this is exactly what we wanted to do, what did the payments look like? So we only had to pay $1,000 to hold our unit. And then we had 30 days from there to put the down payment to actually solidify that we're buying it. And then from there, the payment plans were every single month. We had to submit a payment plan for about 2 years. payments, and then there was a balloon payment. The final payment was the largest payment at the end. And so we hadn't paid the final payment, obviously, until we walked the unit and decided that, okay, yes, we're closing. Everything is legit. There's no issues, and so on and so forth.
Now, the question is, how are we going to run this thing from DC? Well, we were fortunate enough when we came on this vacation that we stayed at a newer build, and we actually ended up sitting next to the HOA president at this particular building. So he was from New York, and he gave us all his contacts as far as furniture builders, electrician, plumbers, everything.
Property managers,
everything. We're all set with everyone that we need, and recommendations from each one of those individuals as to different things we should add into our apartment, things that the builders don't take care of that the electrician can take care of. We were really fortunate to make this contact while we were here on this vacation.
Yeah, shout out to Roel and Jeanette. We will link their Airbnb in the link below, because if you decide that you want to stay in Las Terrenas, they have an amazing spot, and they put so much TLC into it to make sure that it's an amazing place for you to stay. And again, this conversation just happened at the pool. We were all hanging out at the pool and just happened to have conversations. Where are you from? Where are you from? And next thing we know, like you said, he's a president of the complex that we were staying in for our Airbnb, and they just unloaded and gave us all of their contacts. So it was such a godsend to be able to connect with them, and we're just excited for the future friendships and things that we continue to do with the families together.
Right. One of the things that we really enjoyed hanging out with the family is that we had our chef make a dinner for us. And shout out to Chef Rodolfo. We're going to put a
link to him as well, his Instagram.
Also, we had an amazing meal, amazing conversation, and yeah, Dominican Republic is just a godsend for us, and we're just really, really grateful for the experience and look forward to what we can do with our family moving forward.
Now that everything is done, essentially, as far as like the roof over our head is concerned, there's other things that are going to be ongoing for several months, and that's going to be furnishing this place, because we could choose to furnish it. And what we thought the furniture package was like significantly inflated. Let's just call it, they wanted $50,000 to furnish a 3-bedroom, 3-bath condo. And we thought that was a little unrealistic, knowing especially what we could get furniture for here. And also we could like get stuff custom for cheap. So we decided against getting the furniture package that the developer was providing us. And in turn, we're just going to get our own furniture. So we'll probably take a few trips back and forth, or maybe have an extended stay where we just get everything furnished. Right now, there's just air conditioning units in it, because that's typical as far as the delivery is concerned. We could have upgraded for the appliance package, but again, we're going to get everything done ourselves.
All right.
So now that we've kind of shared this whole journey and this process with you, I'm curious to know, Darius, like during this process, did you have doubts? Were you concerned? Were you scared? Were you like, why are we doing this? Let the people know where you were mentally as we went through this project.
Well, as we were going through this process, I knew that things were going to be different, and I was prepared for it because of the frequent trips that we made to Dominican Republic and the fact that we lived in the Dominican Republic for a period of time. So I knew that the process was going to be different. But what really helped me out is seeing how inflation really priced a lot of people out of the housing market in the U.S. And I thought that it was a good idea that we were able to get such a nice property in the Dominican Republic, looking out at the ocean with the backdrop out of mountains. It's something that we wouldn't necessarily be able to do at this particular time in the United States. So I was really open to the idea because of the market that I was seeing in the United States, how many people being priced out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So for cost is concerned, many of you are saying, well, how much did it cost? We bought a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath condo. We are up in the hills overlooking the ocean, and the total cost was $197,000. So again, we could have bought the furniture package that would add another $50,000 onto it, but all in, we're in for $197,000. So we're excited because this is one of the newer communities that's kind of up in the hills. We're not on the beach. We preferred to not be on the beach. We wanted to have a better view. And so for that, us not being like super beach people, we didn't want to be trekking in sand every single day into our houses.
Yeah.
So we just want to see the water.
Me personally, I like looking at the beach, but I really don't like the sand at the beach.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to bring it back home. So long story short, I think for me, what the observation was, we already know that there's Dominican time, and Dominican time is completely different from American time. So we knew that we had to build in a layer of patience for that. And then also just knowing from construction, from my background, that things are just going to take time. So, and also we weren't in a rush. We had 2 young children during this whole process, so we've been busy parenting, and this is all just icing on the cake, because the idea is, we're buying these properties so that we can have it for our children in the future, and we have a place to call home, they have a place to call home, and we're anxious to get everything done, get it furnished, so that we can share the before and after with you. But we'll go ahead and share some B-roll here so that you can see like what the condo looks like, what the rooms look like, and all of that, because we will be listing it on Airbnb when it is available, and we'll make sure that you all know. So if you decide to come to Las Serenas, you can stay at our place.
We look forward to seeing you soon. So now we have the question of, how did we fund this? Well, we used a combination of income that we had allocated for real estate investing. We use part of the income coming from our mobile home investments, which we'll link in the video up here. And we also use our life insurance policies. So in the order, for the 20% down that we put on this property in order to hold it, was money that we had allocated from our savings account. And then the monthly payments for the next 2 years came from the income that was coming from our mobile home investments.
Using an investment to pay for an investment.
Using an investment to pay for an investment. Use 2 mobile homes to pay for a condo in another country.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. It's just being able to move money and understanding how to allocate funds. Mm-hmm. And then our balloon payment that we have right now of about $120K, what we've done is we borrow money from our life insurance policies, and as we get income from our Airbnbs, we're going to refund those that loan to the insurance company from our investment. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to keep this process going over and over again to buy more real estate property.
Mm-hmm. And like Darius was saying, for us, the idea is having liquidity facilities. So we have opportunities where we have liquid funds available. And what we recognize with knowing that there's Dominican time and knowing that this is a pre-construction situation, we were not sure how long our loan was going to be outstanding with the insurance company. So that's why we use some funds from here, some funds from here, some funds from here, because we didn't want to totally just take out at $200K from our life insurance policies and leave that outstanding for who knows how long, just because there was so much uncertainty. So that's why we just use the majority of the balloon payment from the life insurance policies, and we use our investments basically to fund the rest of it, just to keep things on the safe side. Because we always have other things going on. We have other investments brewing at the same time. So we just wanted to make sure that we were strategic with our liquidity facilities, and we didn't put too much cost into this whole process by having loans outstanding for several years without a repayment plan.
Right, and a repayment plan is key when talking about borrowing from a life insurance policy, and we'll link a video here where we talk about the importance of a repayment plan.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that I do have to say before we sign off is I am just so blessed in this moment. Like, I'm just recognizing how blessed we are, because one, we have this opportunity. Our daughter is here with us. We brought our nephew with us, just so that they can be a part of this whole journey and they can see what's happening. But the other thing too is, like, I'm just recognizing, like, the things that you speak to existence, the things that you want can actually manifest if you want it. And so in this moment, as we're sitting here literally looking at the ocean, talking to our cell phones, talking to you, we're just realizing just how blessed we are to have had this moment, to be able to share with you the things that we're doing personally. And we hope to be able to share more of the things that we're doing personally in the future, because we recognize that it's motivation for you all. It's motivation for us to keep going as we look back and reflect on the things that we're doing. So thank you all so much for being a part of our journey. Thank you for all of the amazing comments and the support and the feedback. It goes without said. It just means so much to us.
And if you want more information on how to leverage your life insurance policy loans from the insurance company, then check out our next video.
And remember to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.